Hello, everyone. This is JD Calderon. This is Indie Comics Explained. Yet again, I brought another fantastic group of independent comic book creators. So please hit like, hit subscribe, let everybody know we're here. And without further ado, let's just bring on the best co-host the planet Earth has to offer. At least for me.
Wait, what? Hey, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me just finish something. I'm just in the middle of trying to finish something here.
Well,
it's either that or my Duolingo Spanish lessons.
There you go.
Oh my goodness. So hello everyone. My name is Daphne Lage and I'm a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist from New York. I've been working with this dude since way before 1992 on the comics. And and I am known for my furry fantasy adventure, Tall Tales, again with Jose, and my own medieval fantasy drama, Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, which is currently on Kickstarter right now, and its last 11 days. The link is in the chat.
There you go. All right, cool. Let's bring on the Coco, Mr. Rob Multari. Please introduce yourself, sir.
Yeah, so I'm Rob Multari. For those of you who don't know me, usually I wear a hat that says Lone Wolf Comics. So I am the writer, creator of Nightwolf and Snowpaw through my imprint, Lone Wolf Comics. I'm also doing a kids book with kind of like Muppet Baby versions of said characters called the Wolfpack Pups. I brought the gang along with me, and we'll be talking about that, I'm sure, at some point in this campaign, or show, if you will. But for now, I'm here to be the co-host.
There you go. Have you started cracking open some of those boxes yet?
Which ones? The ones back there?
Yeah.
Those are all open.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I was like, okay.
Yeah, those are like, so oftentimes I'll reuse boxes, so I don't have to like.
Oh yeah, no, of course.
But I have nowhere else to put them.
Right, but it's better for the environment.
Yes, exactly. Right. I'm being environmentally conscientious. Yes. Lone Wolf Comics is green.
There you go. And we have on the awesome Mr. Tom Hutchison.
Oh, I'm not even on the co. I don't get a co. Nothing.
If you want to be the co, you can be the co.
You be the co.
What's up, everybody? Back again. Tom Hutchison, writer, publisher, art director, all things Big Dog Inc. This is our 15-year anniversary, 2025. So we got a lot going on, and there's a lot going on in this industry that, not exactly what we were expecting at this point, but it is what it is. So we'll just see what we can do this year. On our 10-year anniversary, we had COVID. On our 15-year anniversary, the industry collapsed. Pretty good. What the hell is going to happen on our 20th anniversary?
Stop! No, don't jinx it.
He's
don't
putting
jinx
it out in
it.
the universe. We're all going to die.
Shush you.
The planet is going to explode. That'll be it.
We got 5 years left, guys.
Together.
We got 5 years left, and it's all gone.
That's it. 2030, here we come. How you doing, Brayden?
Hey, doing well. My name is Brayden Viloria, and I am the writer and creator for Haven Comic. We just launched our Kickstarter yesterday.
All right, cool. How you doing, Rich?
Hey, man, I'm doing great. Hope you are.
Yep, I'm doing fine. Introduce yourself, sir.
Hey, I'm Rich Davis. I'm the writer-creator of the World of Dracula series, and I'm here tonight to talk about my new book coming up later this year called Angel Hunter. It's my first foray into the world of fantasy and manga.
All right, cool. From your very fancy large chair, I like that.
I love this. Yeah, it's my grandpa's old chair.
That's awesome, man.
I never knew how cool it was to sit in a nice wingback chair until I started sitting in a nice wingback chair, man. It's just, I don't know, it feels cool.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
I seem to be smoking a pipe or something right now.
All right, before we get to the
talking about Diamond for the next 6 months.
Yeah. Well, before we get to the show question, which I'll be asking in a moment. So look, this is more. I was discussing this with Tom before the show, but as we know, Diamond's having issues, right? A lot of these independent publishers are not going to be able to get into places like Lunar and what is that, Penguin Random House. So I think, and look, I'll be honest with you, Antarctic Press is a friend of the show. Comicsburg, they're friends of the show. There are other small presses that are friends of the show. If you have contacts with comic book stores, if you are a customer of DCBS, contact them. Talk to your shop owner, right? Let them know. Say, hey, go talk to Lunar, go talk to your distributor, and ask them, are we going to be able to get our Antarctic Press books? Are we going to be able to get our Comicsburg books? Are we going to be able to get these small press books? Because that's the only way these companies are going to pay any attention if they hear paying customers ask them these questions. Because when some AP is a vendor, and when you have a vendor going to a company, they just look at that. That's just another mouth to feed, right? But if you have a paying customer coming to them saying, hey, I want this, that's different, right? They know that that's future money, that's future revenue that could be coming in. So they might be willing to take some of these companies on, especially Comicsburg and AP and some of these other small presses, Red 5 and some of the other ones. Bring them in and, listen, give some of us back some of our homes, right? We had Tall Tales running in Furlough. Tom had Critter running over there. And God knows whoever else Ben would pick up, because he's a really good dude and he loves independent creators. So, that's my plea for Ben. So, if you can talk to your store owner, your local LCS, ask them, are we going to get this? Can you talk to Lunar? Will they talk to them? Who knows? But, it's better to mention it than not to mention it, because you never know. They might actually say something, more likely than not, more likely not than not, but we'll see what happens. All right. Now, on to the show question. Who's to blame for the collapse of the comic book industry?
What collapse?
The collapse is currently going on with Diamond.
No, the industry's not collapsing, and let's not make like Diamond was this.
Oh, hold on, I'm not done with the entire question.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, I thought you were taking it over.
The question and then the answer.
Right. Yeah. So the other half of it, was it them or was it us? Right now, there's different ways to look at it. There are different ways. I leave it open ended because, again, Rich, your experience is gonna be different than mine and Tom's and Brayden's and everybody else's, and we're all gonna have different thoughts on it. But we're gonna talk. We go in a circle. So I'm gonna start with Tom. Tom, what are your thoughts?
So as always, you have to kind of define what you mean by the industry. I always kind of start with that, because there's multiple segments of the industry and they all kind of are affected differently in different ways. But primarily when we talk about the industry, we talk about the retail side of things, the LCS, the distribution, all that kind of stuff. That stuff's been hellacious for decades. You can just see by the contraction of comic book stores that's problematic. We used to have 5,000. Now we have a couple thousand. That's not a good sign for anything. And that's in any business. I mean, even the bigger stores over the years have been closing down. So, retail in general as a whole is contracting. So, the fact that comics are being affected by it, that's in some ways, that's just business. That's just the way that things work now. Everything's online. But the other thing is, comic sales keep falling down from the floppy sort of standpoint. The book market is always is a different sort of animal. It's sort of a different talking point. But with comics, the way that comics work, the book market is the comics. The comics have to exist before they become the book and go into the other channels. So if the comic side of things starts to slow down or stop, the book side can do that as well, at least as far as new content. They can always reprint old stuff, but there won't be any new stuff. So the problem that we have now is larger than it's been in the past, though, where we have a distributor who is not the monopoly anymore, but they still are carrying essentially the bottom third pie for the most part of the industry. And they're telling us that in 2 months, they're going to go away. Unless they're bought, unless somebody infuses them with cash, that's not great, particularly because the options with Penguin and Lunar, those places are not for whatever the reasons are, they're not simply just opening their doors and saying, well, hey guys, come in here. Just we'll pick you up. Just come on in. So what we have is a situation where the industry has all of these publishers that are going to have no home and no ability to get to the retail market, barring direct sales, barring me going on the phone every day, every week, and calling 1,000 retailers and saying, "Do you want to buy my book?" That's a difficult prospect for most small press people. So what we're probably going to have is a whole lot of small publishers potentially disappear. Now, that doesn't mean they won't be able to come back at a later date if Lunar decides to open their doors or an option opens, but it's a problem, and it's a problem that started a long time ago when the comic book industry just decided this is what it is. This is what we are. This is how we do it. We don't look for a new audience. We don't advertise. We don't market. Everything, all of that kind of stuff was put on the shoulders of the retailer, really. There was like co-op advertising and stuff, but there was never like a, back in the 80s, there was, hey, got milk? Beef is what's for dinner. Like there was never a comic book awareness campaign in any capacity. And I always thought that Diamond was the place that should have been doing that. They had all of the information that they would need, all of the images, all the publishers. They could have rallied all kinds of stuff to do some sort of marketing besides just, the nonsense that we did with co-op stuff. So whose fault is it? It's Diamond, number one, because I feel like they went stagnant in what was their job as sort of the gatekeeper of the industry. But also along the way, one of the problems is that all of the smaller publishers, not to say that Marvel and DC and those guys didn't have their issues too, but all these smaller publishers that Diamond was propping up, you can go back through history and watch them all destroy themselves too. There's endless tales of collapse from various publishers, whether it's, Valiant's problems or more recent stuff with like Scout and Action Lab. I mean, it's just, you can watch them all fall off the cliff. So we have our own sort of fault in the stars in that regard too, because if they're trying to support us and we're not doing our job to get the books in the stores and so on, then their effort is going for naught because of us. So there's definitely not a us or them. It's definitely a mixed up problem. But at the peak when all this was working, again, that's the speculator time too. So we had that bubble pop for a different reason. We never really thought that things could get bad. It was always up, 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 up. And then the speculator bubble popped and everything went like, holy crap, we gotta restructure and redo all this stuff. So I put a lot of it on Diamond's shoulders. But like I said, at the same time, the small press guys didn't do themselves any favors for a lot of years as well. So let's kind of leave it at that and let people add to it.
All right, Brayden, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I echo a lot of that for sure. I think that in terms of the industry, it's just going to go a different route. I think you're going to start seeing more than we already have. A lot of like smaller press, smaller guys go the crowdfunding route. I know that that's been like a big boom for a little while now. But I just think that we're going to start to see that that's kind of how you build your own audience and build your own, kind of following. And then later on, I think that those guys will get published. I just think with the way that Diamond kind of has filed, I don't see it. There's speculation that, are they going to get out of this and everything like that? I think that'd be hard. I think that's a hard prospect with kind of how things are. And I think, we're going to start to see just kind of smaller publishers, smaller creators, hopefully band together and kind of go on their own imprints or their own things and build their own audiences to kind of get their names out and their books out and published. But it's my thoughts.
Cool. Now, Rich, I know you had a lot to say. I'm sorry.
Yeah, hey, man. First, I want to apologize for jumping the gun there. I didn't
that's all right.
understand the format, and I thought, yeah. Anyway, my
That's right.
apologies.
JD doesn't always
Everybody
understand the formats
there.
either.
That was really I'm loving, Tom, you said a lot of great things there that I totally agree with. I can speak to this on several different angles because I've owned comic book stores since 2007. I just recently opened my 4th store, Wonderland Comics in Cookeville, Tennessee. That's actually where I'm talking to you from right now. I like to build stores, develop different business models, and then sell them. So I'll own Wonderland for a couple of years before I sell it and move on to something else too. But I've also been a creator, and I've also kind of walked the line of being involved in the publishing aspect of it with the various small press publishers I've worked with. So, the first thing I wanted to say is the sky is not falling. The world is not ending. The comic book industry is not collapsing. It's changing. It's adapting. And us comic book nerds, we don't always like change. And, well, we just gotta kind of suck it up, Buttercup. The world's not the way it was, but it's going to be okay because we're at a time where creators don't need publishers, publishers don't need distributors. We don't need any of that. You can go right to someone. I mean, there are Kickstarter campaigns right now that are making 5 times as much as I made on Cult of Dracula. And Cult of Dracula sold over 150,000 units and was optioned as a television series. And Kickstarters are lapping what I made from that. So the world's changing. It's not ending. Comic book stores, this is me speaking as a local comic book shop owner. You got to change the model. Right now I'm sitting to, and this is where Tom really hit it, I think, where I can totally agree. Floppies are dead. The future is trade paperbacks, which is why with Angel Hunter, we're completely skipping floppies. We're going straight to the 102 page graphic novel model. Floppies, especially for indie comics, are ridiculously hard to sell. But here at Wonderland, we realized that a long time ago that new comic book floppies were declining, but we also saw our trade paperback sales were exploding. So right now, 2/3 of my store is devoted to trade paperbacks, and then new comics and back issues split the other third. I think I'm looking 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5 spinner racks of new comics, and I've got 22 shelves of trade paperbacks, and then I've got 4 large islands of back issues. So again, the world's not falling apart; it's just changing, and you got to change with it.
That's fair. That's fair. Now, in your store, what's the biggest growth that you see? Like as far as like genre,
Horror,
company type. Oh, horror. Okay.
Horror. Yeah, we've got so Marvel, DC take up 2, 3, 4, 6, 8 shelves, and the remainder of them are dedicated to genre books. What we've noticed over the years, and this is taking data from my last store that I sold last year, we started to see people, the pattern was people would come in, they'd see a movie, they'd be like, oh my God, I love Batman. I just saw this movie. I got to have everything Batman. So they buy Batman for about 6 weeks, and they're like, I'm kind of bored with superheroes. They figure out that superhero comics are essentially the same 13 plots recycled with different color costumes. And they're like, I want something more. So we'd ask, what's your favorite TV show? 90% of the time it's something horror. So we take them to our horror section and we put a book that's similar to their favorite TV show or their favorite movie in their hands. If it's sci-fi, we do the same thing. If it's fantasy, we do the same thing. Action, comedy, romance. I mean, there's a comic book out there for everybody. It's just, you're just not going to find it at Marvel and DC. There's more than capes and tights. So yeah, the biggest growth, answering your question, the biggest growth that we see is in genre trade paperbacks. I cannot keep those $9.99 Image Volume 1s. I cannot keep them on the shelves. And I spend more money on my monthly orders ordering just those than I do all of my floppies combined. Just those $9.99 Image #1 trade paperbacks. I cannot keep them on the shelves.
Interesting. Okay. Interesting.
But notice the price point there too.
$9.99.
Like, it's like obviously if you were to bring in one of us, like, you know, and we're, you know, bringing in our trades, you know, like, as we each have, you know, a collected edition of our floppies, you know, but we, you know, for this hardcover, I sell for $50 because it's also a collector's item. But also for my $30, like I have a $30 soft cover. Like, our margins don't make sense for a lot of retail as well in that kind of a sense. So like we're already kind of defeated by the fact that like Marvel, DC, Image, they have the print runs that they can keep that price down. So you know, that's part of like, you know, what hurts us in like the mass distribute.
Well, but even then, the 9.99s are usually volume 1, and then the rest of, and then the volume 2s and 3s, they bump it up to, you know, $17-$18.
We sell the hell out of those too.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The 9.99 is the first one's free sort of thing.
It's that first taste, it gets you addicted. Yeah,
exactly.
But a lot of indie guys aren't able to print a couple thousand units of a thing to, you know, be able to pull that down at least with any sort of regularity. So I get where Rob's coming from on that.
Is Mike asking which
is that manga size? Well, I guess he's asking if it's a manga. No, they're actually full size comics.
Yeah, you mean the
night? Oh
yeah.
Or wait, is asking me or asking you?
I think in general he was asking all of us.
Yeah, mine was a full size comic book. My page count's 152 in that hardcover.
Yeah. All right, cool. So Rob, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the question?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it comes down to a combination of things, but I think a big one is obviously, you know, Diamond's business management. Tom hit it on the, you know, head right there, where it was basically they didn't adapt, they didn't change, they didn't promise, they just kind of, you know, kept for a while and kept the same kind of business model, and it didn't adapt with anything. And then when their big customers took off, that's when the ship started sinking. You know, and I think that again, like, and I think too, Marvel, DC, Image are a big part to blame for it. Again, going back to price points too, like, you know, we can't, as indies, can't compete with that. You know, so, you know, nobody can then go in and save that sinking ship once those holes were put, like, you know, because those were like, you know, large cannonball size holes in that ship. So there was no saving it, you know. So, you know, so like I said, business model versus, I think, the big three just being like, peace.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Daphne, what are your thoughts?
I didn't create the problem, so I take no responsibility for it. And I think that for indies as a whole, I kind of think that to lay any blame of this at our feet, I think is absolutely ridiculous. This was a situation of giants fighting. And no matter what we could do individually, it wasn't going to change the outcome. We weren't the ones buying out distributors left and right.
It's like the Attack of the Titans, you know?
Right, exactly. You know, but at the same time, it's like, whose fault is it in the end? Kind of doesn't matter either, because that fight is so way beyond us. It's like, okay, it's Diamond, it's Image, you know, if Image didn't sign on with Capital, it was still us depending on larger companies making decisions that were never going to benefit us. And also because of this too, it's like, look, I've been salty about Diamond and retailers for decades. So this was, I mean, it's still upsetting to see it go out the way it did, because it's like, you know, it's kind of like, oh, it's like, oh, the crabby uncle finally died, you know, kind of thing, you know. And it's like, you know, yeah, I didn't like him, but, you know, he was always there.
He would always give me candy,
you know. And, you know, and it's just like, that's kind of, and it is affecting people that, you know, like the whole thing with Antarctic. I mean, it's like, you know, regardless of the fact that we'll probably never see that issue of Furlough again, it's like, you know, it is upsetting that it's like, you know, here's Ben, who's lasted through so much, and, you know, it's like he survived Walmart, trying to get into Walmart. Walmart almost took him down. you know? And it's like, oh, and no, but it's a Diamond that's going to take him out, you know? And then it's like, you know, that's upsetting. That is upsetting. You know, it's like, you know, so it is affecting people, you know, but at the same time, it's like they created that mess. You know, as a whole, they created that mess. We were just watching it unfold very slowly for 20 years. You know, and then it's like we all had the nerve to Pikachu face when it finally happened. You know, it's like
I love your humor.
Yeah, the memes are on point.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is. Although I do have to agree that it's not the end of an industry. I think it's very silly to even think. I mean, independent comics proves that we exist in spite of the industry.
I'm not printing these labels to go to Diamond.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, it's like we exist in spite of the system, not because of it. You know, the whole underground comic scene, again, it was just like, you know, even when it was much larger, it's like they existed in spite of. And we're going to continue to exist in spite of, you know, and it's just, yeah, it's just, how is it going to change the rest of the ecosystem? You know, what we're seeing is an extinction burst. Now is just to see what happens afterwards. But yeah, but I'm not taking one iota of the blame for this. not an ounce. Not an ounce.
All right, that's fair. Hey, look, I asked the question because I feel like it's one of these things, whereas I'm really interested on how people feel about it individually, right? When I'm not, nobody has a wholesale answer, right? But you know, I think everybody's opinion is interesting to hear. For my part, you know, who's to blame? Who's to say, right? I mean, Marvel in what was it, 94 when they brought up Heroes World? Who knows? Image when they didn't go with Capital City, you understand, and kept both distributors alive. Was that an issue? Quite possibly. Image this time deciding to leave and not keeping Diamond afloat. Is it their fault? Who knows? Was it DC's fault? They did what they had to do is right for them, and you know what they have to do for their business. Same thing with Marvel, right? And Daphne's right. We're standing at the feet of giants, and we've only ever been, you know, clinging on their back, saying, "All right, yeah, go in that direction." If we're lucky.
More like it's probably, please don't fuck up. Please don't fuck up.
Right. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, you know, it's going to be one of these things where it's, you know, it's just that I see so many small, like, look, are we ever going to see another Dave Sim? Right? Are we ever going to see another Terry Moore? Are we ever going to see another Jeff Smith? Right? Because all those guys print independently. Right? Jim Ballant from Tarot, he also prints independently. And I spoke to Marvin, who's in the chat right now. Marvin's a real cool dude. He does heavy outreach to retailers. He contacts 200 to 300 retailers. But who wants to pack 200 to 300 retailers books for them every month? Because the thing is, it's different. It's a different ROI from a Kickstarter to doing it for retailers. If I have a campaign where I know I have to pack 300 packages for a campaign on Kickstarter, I know I had a $15,000-$20,000 campaign, right? Yeah. If I had a similar thing for retailers, maybe I sold 1,500 books, maybe I made $3,000, right? The ROI is just so different there. It's not even funny. So that's why, you know, I would love to have a distributor back. I get it. You know, we all have options, but man, it is so much easier shipping it to one place and let them dispersing it and then letting them collect the money and us getting a check. You know, I've been there, I've done that, and it works. You know, I know Tom's been there as well, so I'm pretty sure it worked for him too. Yeah. Daphne, you're up.
Okay, so considering everything that's happening, right? If you had to do your comic book thing, career, whatever, over again, what's one little thing that you regret not doing and what's one that you would that you regret not doing, and then you would do, and one big thing that you would do that maybe you're not doing now. But if you were doing it all over again, it's like, oh, I would do this little thing and this one big thing.
Interesting. All right, Brayden, what are your thoughts?
Well, I just launched my first Kickstarter, and I'd probably go back 10 years, which would be what I would do to avoid all this mess. Yeah, no, that's really hard, because there are just so many things, and even getting into like the smaller space is getting into it is difficult. Yeah, I think I'd probably start earlier. If I had this epiphany moment of hey, let's get into comics. I'm sure it would be an easier time all around with given things, and then just really just paying attention to kind of more of the industry as a whole, and trying to really just build that audience kind of from word of mouth and everything else. Doing a Kickstarter campaign when I first set out to do it, I thought it was like, I could do a little campaign and pay an artist for a book and ship it out. It'll be great. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of just door knocking, virtual door knocking with everything. So I would start earlier and just build that audience from kind of the ground up.
All right, cool. Rich, what are your thoughts?
Can you repeat that question, because it was a complicated one and I loved it?
If you had to do everything all over again, of course, knowing what you do now, what's one small thing that you would do that probably you didn't do or you regret not doing that you would do, and one big thing that you would do if you had to do it all over again? So one small thing and one big thing.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. So the small thing I think I would do is I would have gone to Kickstarter much earlier. I would have started there. I had this kind of hoity-toityness to me that comic books on Kickstarter weren't real comics, that real comics were in comic book stores. So I busted my butt for 2 years to get Cult of Dracula picked up by a publisher, and ended up doing most of the work selling it myself. As you were saying earlier, Tom, publishers don't advertise. It's like, what do publishers do? Not much, except take your money. So I would have gone to Kickstarter first, because I've watched a lot of, and I admire the hell out of these people for how hard they work. A lot of people I really admire and respect. They're raking in hugely successful campaigns. And not everybody succeeds, of course, but the people who work hard at it, they're doing great things. And I wish I would have done that earlier. I would have gone to Kickstarter much earlier than that. And one big thing I think I would do differently is I would have negotiated different types of contracts with my artists. I would have done more IP share rather than page rates, because as a writer, it's a page rate for an artist. When you're paying $1.25, $1.50, up to $200 a page, it's just not sustainable to go that route. One issue of Prometheus and Chains, the trade paperback just came out in stores. It was I spent $24,820 on creative for Prometheus and Chains. I've not made anywhere near that back, and I'm not going to make anywhere near that back until the trade's been out 5 or 6 years, and it's me hustling it. Thankfully the trade sales are doing well, but it's going to be a long time before I make any money off of this thing that I created. But Jordan Dorenzo, my brilliantly, amazingly talented artist, made a lot of money. My colorist, my letterer, they all made a lot of money. I didn't. So I would do something different that way, more, because I'm not going to ask an artist to work for exposure, because that's ridiculous. But me, with somebody with a successful track record of getting comics out and selling them, I think, negotiating more of an IP share type thing, that would be what I would do differently. And that's what I'd really advise if there's any aspiring writers out there. I'd advise you go on that route. And if there's any aspiring artists out there, I would say demand as big of a page rate as you can get.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so you got it.
Yeah, that's counter.
But you're always butting heads. The writer and the artist, you're always going to be butting heads, but somehow you're also working toward the same thing. And in the end, it turns out to be this wonderfully brilliant collaboration, and nobody knows how the hell it happened.
Very true. Tom, what are your thoughts?
So, if we're assuming, is the question like, 15 years ago when you started?
Whatever.
Or are we talking about now?
Is there something in the past? Is there two things in the past? One small one, one big one. That if you did it all over again, you would do those two things differently.
Yeah, because I feel like, to be perfectly honest, I think we did it all right when we started. We started at zero. We sold out of our first issue, and 4 years later, I had J. Scott Campbell drawing covers for me and having huge booths at C2E2, where we're the second biggest booth on the floor next to Marvel. So I feel like we did all of that right with that sort of groundswell marketing. Just let the fans do their thing. All the freaking comic book websites wouldn't ever even give us any attention. They didn't want to see us doing and being bigger than some of these other publishers that were kissing their ass to get their marketing on their website. So I used that as sort of a bonus chip on my shoulder for fuck you guys, we're going to just keep doing it then. So I feel like we did it all right. And then we had our blip. And our blip moment is going to be a really weird one and people are going to be a little shocked about this, but our blip moment is when we went to Aspen. And the blip wasn't that we were with Aspen. That was a fantastic 3 years. It was an amazing experience for me, learning how this publisher works, how it works within the rest of the industry, blah, blah, blah. The problem was that the people that were following us through those original 4 years, through Diamond and all that sort of thing, we're no longer in Diamond. We're no longer on the stores in the same capacity. They literally thought that we had just gone belly up and disappeared. Even today, now, 10 years later, after that start over at Aspen, I still come to Comic Cons and people are like, "You're still doing this?" I'm like, "Dude, we never stopped." Like whether we were with Aspen or when we came back to Kickstarter, we've never stopped. And that's where I started to learn how social media and the internet does not work the way that we think it works at all. So that's the big one, right? Is we had this moment in time where it's like, do we go over here with Aspen, and at this point, Kickstarter had become kind of a thing. It was not nearly what it is now, but it had kind of started to become a thing. And I knew some people that had been doing it, and they were like, "You got to try this out." And I was like, "Oh, this makes sense for us," because again, everything had gone the right direction. But I think that if we had, instead of going to Aspen, just embraced the crowdfunding model and maintained our presence, in Diamond every month under Big Dog Inc., I think that might have been the better fork in the road for us to take, just because we lost so many people thinking that we went out of business, even though we absolutely didn't. So that's sort of the big one. That's the one that I always kind of look back on, and I'm like, you know what, at the time, I feel like that was the right choice. But as I look back on it with 2020 vision, there might have been a better opportunity for us in that regard. So that's that path you didn't know if you should or shouldn't travel. But we did it one way. We did pick up a lot of fans along the way from the Aspen side of things. I met a lot of people through Aspen. Met a lot of artists through Aspen. I had a great experience with those guys. I learned a lot, but from just a general sort of business standpoint, I think it might have thrown us off. And now we're just kind of, rebuilding it all.
It's crazy.
Cool. Mr. Multari.
Yeah, I think one thing that I would have changed back when I ran my first Kickstarter, the one that failed in 2016. Again, the small tweak would have been to make it for 5,000, which I would have made, rather than be naive and go for that 20K. That's the small tweak. I think the big thing would be probably to go back into my college years and say, screw my band, even though like I had a great time, being an indie band for a while. Comics was always my passion even before that band came around, and obviously seeing how that went, I definitely would have said put all that time, effort, and money instead of putting it into a band. I would have put it into this, so that I'd be decades ahead of where I am now. Because let's face it, I mean, again, I had a lot of fun playing the rock star, but I basically do the same thing I did then. I do the promotion, I did all the artwork, for like the the CD label and stuff. So I'm managing the art now. I'm not doing the artwork now, but I'm doing the creative stuff, working with the artists, like booking the shows. So it's like everything I did then I'm doing now. So really, if I would have just applied that to what I'm doing now, I'd probably be, I could say I'm right there with Tom, but I got a lot of catching up to do.
All right, fair enough. So it's funny. I got two things. I don't know how big they are. Well, one of the, I guess. All right, so I started self-publishing in '92. Now, the one thing I did a lot of things right, considering I was only about 18 or 19 years old. But the part that I did wrong was, back then, when I released issue 2, I could have resolicited number 1. And I had plenty of copies of number 1s that I could have sold instead of just sitting on them. And that's probably the small one, right? That would have just garnered us a few extra thousand. And back then, it would have just been nice to do. The second thing, the bigger one, is this. This one will affect Daphne. There you go. We produced this toy. Is a vinyl figure of one of our characters, Silverman, in 2008, right? And, we could have bought a car, but instead we made this toy. And the only misstep with this is I think if we would have made him half the size, literally like 3 inches, instead of like this size, which, I mean, he looks great. But I think if he would have been smaller, I think he would have sold better. Or we would have been able to sell they would have been more cost efficient, so we would have been able to bring down the price and it would have sold better. Because I'm telling you, we've sold a bunch of these, but if I got a nickel for every single time everybody said, oh, that looks great, and, not buy it.
Left it at that.
Right.
Yeah.
So those are my two things. But anyway, so Daphne, what
I mean, actually, it's like I actually kind of hate these types of questions because it creates kind of like a butterfly effect where it's like, well, I could have done that. It's like, oh, wait, but if I did that, then this wouldn't have happened, and that type of thing, right? Mm-hmm. But there was like two consistent things that kept popping up. Like, you know what? Yeah, these are the two things that if I had to do it all over again, I would have changed. The small thing, believe it or not, is finishing the last 2 issues of Tall Tales, Tears of the Mother, which is our 8-issue limited series. I swear to God, I've been sitting on those 2 issues for since before 2020, and it's like, it's just been so difficult for me to get back on the horse on those 2 issues because I have to start them from scratch.
And you're riding a different horse.
Right. Yes, exactly. As opposed to Eagle Raven, which is finished penciling. So all I have to do is just ink and color. So technically I have faster momentum working on this book than working on these last 8 issues than working on those 2 issues. Had I have done those before I started Eagle Raven, I wouldn't have had this conflict. The big thing that I would have done differently is there was a 10-year period going back to Diamond. There was a 10-year period about between us pretty much excommunicado from Diamond and going on Kickstarter. There was about like a 10-year period. And the thing that I wish I had the thought of doing was really building our mailing list in that time. Because I think that if I had spent the time building that, because it's not like we stopped going to shows and, you know, it's just that it never occurred to me that a mailing list would be important. And the more Kickstarters we do, the more it's like, oh, that probably would have done it. That probably would have made the process a lot easier if I had spent that 10 years building our mailing list, so that when we finally like did get on Kickstarter, what, like in 2016 or something, it wouldn't have been, it just would have been an easier process because we would have built that audience by then.
Yeah.
You know,
we sold like thousands of trades.
Yeah.
At shows, literally thousands.
Yeah. It's not like
You know, we would do, because we were printing offset. We would do digest size trades, and we were printing them offset, and we would get them 1,000 books at a time. So, yeah.
So those, that
2020.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's kind of the point of the question. But yeah, those are the two things that pop up that, yeah. Although the toy comes in a good third.
What kind of car would you have purchased?
Yeah. Just who knows,
one that they could put the thousands of books in.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, but by now you would have had to buy another car, and you.
Well, right.
You know, you still have those toys you can just keep selling.
Right.
You did it. You did that part right, JD.
There you go. I guess. I don't know.
He's like, tell that to my basement.
Yeah, exactly.
But here's something else that's being done right. Critter. So, Tom, do you want me to play this video?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm surprised I even posted it. For those that know me, I don't usually do videos like at all. So I had completely forgotten that I even had that, and I posted it after we had launched the campaign, like days later. But yeah.
All right, Tom, walk us through.
So, like I said, 15 years of Big Dog Ink, guys. We started with, the first ever book that I wrote was Critter. The first book that got released was Penny for Your Soul, and we'll be coming to that in March. But this is issue 25 of the ongoing series, so issue 30 overall. So this wraps up volume 6, art being done by Eduardo Garcia and Nia Rufino on colors. This is sort of the culmination of this entire period of time that we've been writing this book, talking about the Critterverse and the different parallel versions of her. And this kind of will show you finally how it all works, the who, what, where, why, when of the Critterverse. And it'll take us into the next sort of, age of Critter as we push the book forward, because there is much more to come. But this is sort of that really nice, revelation issue of what all this means and what we've been doing all this time. Got a bunch of cool
colors once again.
What? Say it again.
Who'd you say your colorist was?
Nia Rufino.
Really nice work. I really like it.
Oh, she's one of the best. Yeah, she's been around forever. She used to be J. Scott Campbell's colorist on all of his stuff. We are the ones that hired her for her first ever covers when she did her own work. So she's been a regular for us since year one. So yeah, and we've worked with some amazing people. Joel Gomez is in this. He does a lot of stuff for Coffin Comics. Jose Luis right there. He was the original artist for the first issue that we did. MR Gunn is in this thing. Mike Chrome is in here. Sanju Nivengoon on the colors. So we've always tried to bring art, I always told my partner, like, look, if we can't bring art that is going to be able to stand up right next to Marvel and DC on the shelf, we already lose. And so we've always kind of pushed that side of things on the artistic side, both in getting name people that people know, but also in the people that we find, making sure that they're at a level that I can be like, yes, we can take this and put this on the market, even though nobody knows who you are. We're going to be able to say, look, this is awesome stuff. And I think we've done a great job with that. So it's very easy, guys. You can grab the one issue. You can grab all the variants together if you want, or pick and choose. All of these are available as rewards or add-ons. We have combo packs. So if you just want the last few issues, you can do that. We have foils. We have metals. If you like the really fancy stuff, those are all printed to order. Usually they end up landing somewhere in the area of 20 to 30 copies. So very, very limited editions on the foils and metals. We do have some back issues. I went through the warehouse, found some old back issues, some of the stuff from Aspen that we still had, as well as just some various back issues. So we threw those in there as well. But it's a very easy to catch up on the whole series. If you want the whole thing, we have trade paperbacks for the whole thing. If you want digital, we do digital, especially if you guys are overseas. I know digital makes it easier for you guys so that you don't have heavy duty shipping. But we can ship it to you if you're overseas as well. We do have our action figures there as well. I too could have bought a car, but to be perfectly honest, I definitely want these toys. There's no question in my mind. You guys will love them if you're action figure collectors. So there's a lot here. It's all Critter all the time, all the way through. Critter is old school superhero fun. It's spandex costumes, utility belts, secret identities. There's guest stars in the book from other people's comic books as well, like their superheroes. Like Todd Knock let me borrow one of his characters from Wild Guard, which was awesome. So it's a great big universe. It's time travel. It's science fiction. It's all the bam pow fun of the 70s and 80s type of superheroes. And like I said, this is issue 25, and we have already have our plans for 2027 to get back into this book for volume 7.
Nice.
So you said this was volume 6, right? Did you already do
the end of volume 6? Yeah.
Did you do a collected version for it yet, or is that
we will? But we got to put this book out first.
Yeah, that's what I assumed. I didn't want to go and be like, oh yeah, because like I have all the trades up until this trade. So
yeah, we'll do once all the, because we have extra copies of 21 to 20. Well, now 25. So once those kind of are thinned down and gone, then we'll put a volume 6 book together again. So yeah.
All right.
That's amazing.
Very nice, Tom. I'm looking forward to the omnibus.
Yeah, well, the omnibus that's further down the line, but we are going to be doing an omnibus for Oz in September. That'll be our first omnibus. Will be for Oz.
All right, cool.
Wouldn't that be an Oznibus?
I didn't want to be that guy, Rob.
Yeah,
I'll let you be that guy.
It sells itself. It sells itself.
Yeah, there you go. Right?
Yeah, you got to do it now.
He is a dad. You got to give him some latitude,
I got 3 kids worth of dad jokes.
Now we're gonna try to find a haven, right? There we go. Boom.
Cool.
Brayden, do you want me to play this video?
Yeah, please do. Yeah, for sure. It's my first video, so be kind. Hi, my name is Brayden Viloria. I'm the creator and writer of Haven. Haven is a brutal superhero setting wrapped up in a detective noir story. I'm working with very talented artists to bring this vision to life. A vision that a year ago started in tragedy. A year ago, my Uncle Garcia, a A well-respected cop, an even better man, died of cancer. I started searching for a way to bring his memory and his legacy alive. And I created Haven, a story that is multifaceted and its characters are flawed. One in which everyone has a past and skeletons in their closet. And I needed two people to face these unknowns, to face the dangers and the darkness of Rook City. And I created Haven, an upstart hero looking to ignite the hope of the people of Rook City. And in loving memory, I crafted Garcia into the story as the detective. I hope that you look at our Kickstarter. I hope that you back. Thank you for your support. Yeah, and that's that. Kind of in Morium there. I can speak to kind of wanting it to be professional, kind of to what Tom said, having that art be kind of like high quality. You pick it up off a shelf from a comic book store, and you can read it as anything else. Was super important. And I kind of went a different way with it. I tried to find like unknown guys that hadn't really done anything, because I mean I can't really afford anyone who has done anything, but and just really work with them. Leonardo Uden did the pencils, inks, and colors, and then Amal Deze did the lettering, which was also super important now. And it's detective noir. It's superheroes. I took a lot of inspiration from like Invincible, kind of like the brutality there. I wanted to do a world with like mutations, with like kind of that X-Men mutant hate kind of thing going on. So like the city, the people in it are fed up. And you see kind of a lot of that, I think, probably on this page with the protesters and everything. And just throw you into this tense situation and this world that's kind of already formed, and then have the audience kind of learn as you go throughout this first issue. It's been a road and long time, but happy to have it out now. Thank you.
All right, cool. Now, is this a one shot? Is this a limited series? What are we looking at?
So this is 24 pages, front and back cover. And it is a mini series. 8 issues is the planned kind of run of it. Just hoping to get the first issue funded and go in there. I'm from Canada, so if you want to pick up digital, it's probably easier. I can sympathize with the shipping costs and everything else. International is never ever fun. But if you do want to pick up a physical book, we're working with people that are possibly in the States that can help kind of with those international shipping costs and everything. So we try to make everything as low as possible that we possibly could. So
okay, cool. So I mean, where did you find your team? How did you put them together?
So there was a subreddit called Comic Book Collabs that I just kind of religiously just went through. I'm in a couple Facebook groups as well. I just kind of formed everyone from there. Actually, the first project was with Gleed Robinson, and he ended up getting picked up by an editor. But just looking for kind of people that had that quality of art, had that quality of lettering, and just seeing if they would work on the project and kind of what those page rates look like there. And I can totally understand like Rich's before with page rates and paying page rates and having that not be sustainable. It's been a time for sure, but yeah, I'm super proud of the work and the pages that we've got on for sure.
Yeah, man, it's a good looking book.
Thank you.
You know, hopefully we'll get you a few extra people. So you got 28 backers, 29 days ago. So at least you got a decent amount of time to raise that. You got to do a hustle a little bit, but I think you can make it. So you know, I think you're on your way.
Thank you.
I don't think you have a problem making that.
Yeah, it's funny you said Invincible. As soon as I saw it, I was like, that looks like Cory Walker art, you know, from Invincible. And then you got great colors. And let me just say this: your letters, dude, your letters are good.
Yeah,
like the letters are good. And I know that a lot of people are like, letters, who cares? Like, no, letters will destroy a book if they're not good.
Real.
And you've got great letters on that book, dude. Congratulations, that looks amazing.
No, thank you so much. I actually saw a YouTube video with Robert Kirkman, and he said that he got given a book and he opened it and the letters were they were see-through, and he said it totally destroyed the book for him. And from that point on, I was like, letters have to be on point. Let's make sure that those are there.
Don't skip on the letter.
Yeah.
I never understood any creator who they go through all the trouble of creating a comic and then decide to like skimp out on the lettering.
Exactly.
Like, what's the point? What was the point of everything else if you're pretty much going to like discourage people from reading your book?
For sure. Well, and the letter and like some of the lettering, like the smash you kind of saw there and everything, just enhance the page for what it is. So yeah, definitely never ever shirk out on good letter.
All right. So just joining us is Fang Fang. How you doing?
Yeah, sorry guys, I live in America for 4 years. I always forgot that they have a different time zone. So when they tell me I should on the show 7, I always think 7, it's still time. But actually it should be with like a 5, right? Yeah, right.
We still got time. All right, but before, all right. So, Rich, I'm gonna bring up Angel Hunter.
Yes, sir.
So, talk us. What are we looking at?
Yeah. So you're looking at the Facebook page for Angel Hunter. So yeah, I feel a little bit underprepared with these guys.
Out of Rob's book.
Yeah, right. It's straight up style. Yeah. I feel a little underprepared with you guys because you guys have these really rad Kickstarter campaigns already going. And we're still in this. Kickstarter is going to launch up in April, so we're getting the groundwork laid for that. What you're looking at here is Les Garner's art. He's doing all the artwork for. I've worked with Les many times before. He did Reign of Dracula with me. He's done a ton of covers, but it's been really nice to work with him in a partnership on this book. This is a co-creation of ours. It's a seinen manga inspired story told in the American comic book style. It's about humanity's first strides after being expelled from Eden, having to claw out an existence in a world that's dominated by the 13 fallen angels and their army of Nephilim. Angel Hunters, it's a lot about the characters and their personal stories. We're going to follow 3 special children, very typical manga style story, 3 special children. They're going to discover that they have different abilities, and they're going to kind of walk this line of, are they going to save the world or are they going to destroy it? Because they have ties they've basically got a foot in each world with the fallen angels and humanity. So we're really going to explore there's a deep theme of duality, because we're all yin and yang, we're all good and evil. We've got light and dark inside of us all. So we're going to see the characters kind of struggle with that as they grow and develop. This is the most ambitious story I've ever structured, because I see this playing out over 10 volumes. Normally I plan, 6 issue, get to a trade, 6 issues, and that's it. But with Angel Hunter, we're skipping the floppy phase and we're going straight to 96 to 102 page volumes of it. kind of, again, tipping our hats to the manga style of doing things. The book is going to be black and white with with grayscale shading. At first we were going to go colors, but Les and I were talking and we were looking at it, and he's like, I really do like how this looks black and white. And I was like, well, why don't we just do it that way? It's, it's manga style. And that's what we wanted to do. And so we gave it a shot, and I really dig the way it's coming out. This is my favorite character in the book. This is Saoirse. She's an up and coming wizard. Let's say she's been hidden away in this Grand Athenium, where she's been trained to develop her own magical powers, but she still can't control them. In the next few pages, you're going to see she's got the ability to manipulate darkness, and can basically rip people's souls out of their bodies using tendrils of shadow. So she's really fun because she's the one you're going to follow and ask throughout the whole book, okay, when is she going to break bad? So I've had a lot of fun writing her, especially. And this is a character called Azar Raza, which is a palindrome if you do it right, because this is two souls inhabiting the same body. And they're both struggling to find their place in the world, and actually struggling to exist in the world, because the only way they can exist in the same world at the same time is for one of them to inhabit a corpse. And that corpse is slowly degrading over time. So they have to find their way back to each other, or they will cease to exist. So this is, I'm trying to write a fantasy here, but I had to go back to horror just a little bit, because that's really my wheelhouse.
All right, cool. Now, how many volumes do you see the series going?
10. I see 10 volumes of this. Yeah. I've got it mapped out, blocked out, to go 10 volumes, and feeling very happy about it. I realize that's ambitious, and when I talk to publishers about it, their eyes kind of go wide like saucers, like, wow, that's ambitious. But that's how much I believe in this project. I believe that we've got something special here. Les and I, we fight like hell every day with each other, but we love each other like brothers, and we love this project. And I really think it's I think you can see how much Les loves it just with his artwork. And I hope my passion for it comes out when you're able to read the story as well. But yeah, I really do. I think we've got something very special with Angel Hunter. If you guys are out there watching, please give us a follow on Facebook or Instagram. And we'll be launching our Kickstarter very soon.
All right, cool. Very nice. When you say soon, is it going to be
April?
February? Oh, April. Okay.
April. Yes.
Right.
So like really soon. Like I think the pre-launch page is supposed to go up this week. And because I think we're going to like officially announce at MegaCon this weekend. I'll be a guest down there, so we're gonna you're going to throw that up there. And so please follow us on the socials, and be ready to get the sign up for that pre-launch on Kickstarter.
I just want to ask, since you're doing manga-esque type of look, are you going to try different formatting, like trying to do it like digest size as well as comic size, or?
That's something Les and I keep going back and forth about. In this regard, sorry, Les, he's a bit stodgy on this. He doesn't want to adjust his art style down to the manga digest size, but it's something I keep fighting him about, wanting him to do. So right now we're going to release it as a comic book size, American comic book size story or format, but it's the story is very manga inspired. As you'll go through, one of the biggest things Les and I have fought about is how I'm being such a stickler for paying homage to the manga style, because my feeling is, especially since manga is so very special to the people of Japan, if I'm going to try to do something inspired by that style, I want to pay homage and respect to that as much as I possibly can, because if I'm not going to do that, then why not just call it a comic book, and why even bother to try to do a manga? So yeah.
All right. Cool. It looks great, man. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. Cool. Let's see. All right. Fang, you got here just in time.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So here's Fang's campaign. Do you want me to play this video for you?
You can, yeah. Just the mythology actually used to have a war story. Like ever and the rest of the story is black and white. And the story is based on very basic folklore, Chinese folklore, Chinese dance. On my part, people like my partner better because they sing more piano. Yeah. Sorry, my English is not that perfect.
No, that's okay. But it looks really nice though. Your art. This is all your art, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The art is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, really,
Thank
really.
you.
Mhm.
If you, I also do commission and do cover artwork. If you guys need a cover artist, you can hire me. Just message me. Yeah.
I need to get your contact info because I see a cover in the future. I really dig the art.
Sure. Just add on my Facebook. Let's friend each other. Just talk
Absolutely.
more. Yeah.
I'm gonna do that right now.
So Fang, how long have you been working on this project?
Oh, several years. Actually, the black and white part is more early work. Right now, I have another project. One is called Beauty, which is a adult content, and another one is a horror story called Lineage. That's more on my new style. It's combined with Western and manga style together. So it's a more recent style. This book is my early search creating, but the color part I just finished last year. So I want to, because I printed this book just black and white last year. So at a convention sell very good. So I think about a reprint a new edition after this 20 pages to sell to get more people to support my project and sell more at a convention. That's this campaign for. Yeah, that's me.
What convention is that?
This one I think is at Fang. Oh no. Phoenix or San Diego one. Yeah. I attending like a 20 convention last year. So
Oh yeah, that's a lot of conventions.
yeah.
You travel with Mel and Mog, right?
Yes, I travel with them. They're very nice people. Yeah.
Mog does my Snowpaw book. So yeah.
Nice. Hope I can work for you for some covers.
I think well, she's starting issue 4, so we definitely need cover artists for that.
Nice, great. Yeah, that's my work. Hope more people to back it. It's because it's an anthology. I need more people like a whole. Oh, this is the book I print before. It's this size, and this is a hardcover version. So I can show. This is the only one I left. I sold the 500 copies and the convention last year. Yeah. I want to print more. Please support this book so I can print more. I can sell more at convention. Yeah, this is one of the cover, the first cover. Yeah.
Very nice. Now, you said you've only been in America for what, 4 years now?
Yeah, 4 years. I used to live in Utah for 3 years. I happened just 1 year living in LA right now. Yeah.
Gotcha. Now, how different do you feel is the comic scene between here and you said you're originally from China?
Yeah, I originally from China. China, the print media is kind of very small markets and rarely have people doing indie comics in China because the culture is kind of like very strict there. If you want to publish something, you have to get license. You have to ask above, say, oh, what kind of material content we can create it. So most company and publisher, they kind of very picky about the genre and story, very strict. So it's hard for indie artists to experiencing themselves. It's really hard. So a few years ago, I was at the travel to America. First time is in New York Comic Con, and my friends saw her art there. That's my first time. Feel like, oh, this is what I want to do. Yeah, you can do whatever you want. Because I was used to do only web comic in China. I'm the lead artist in web comic, like webtoon in China. Right. Then they pick a story as like what's it popular, they make it. Yeah, they just follow, they just copy. So the story, you cannot create your own story. You only follow what the company want, what the market want. It's hard for someone want to tell their own story and even with their own way. So that's why I'm here. I try to pursue my dreams here.
I mean, the book looks gorgeous. I mean, you've already funded. So hopefully you got another 14 days. So hopefully we can get you a few more backers in there, and then
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you for everybody support me.
Like I said, it was a gorgeous looking book. Okay. Cool. So next up is my sometimes partner in crime on one of these shows. There you go, Rob. Do you want me to play this video?
Yeah, sure. Let it talk for me.
All right.
Do you or your children love cuddly plushies inspired by supernatural beings like werewolves? Then the Snowpaw 13-inch werewolf pup is the perfect plush toy for you. This cuddly werewolf plushie was inspired by Snowpaw from the Wolfpack Pups, a Halloween trick-or-treat tale, and is a great snuggle buddy for you or your little ones all through the night. The Snowpaw werewolf plush toy is 100% ready to be manufactured. That's why I've come here to pay for the production and the rewards that you will receive for backing this project. Also available during this campaign are the Wolfpack Pups, a Halloween trick-or-treat tale board book, the Nightwolf 13-inch werewolf plush toy, and the Nightwolf voodoo doll plush toy, which are all already in stock and ready for you and your little ones to enjoy. Hi, I'm Robert A. Multari, the creator and writer of the Wolfpack Pups, and a father to 3 kids who my wife and I have enjoyed reading to every night. I was inspired to write this story by a real-life situation that we experienced with my daughter and her best friend during preschool. The story teaches young children not to be jealous if their best friend has other friends, and that it's okay to have many friends to share and play with. The story is about two young werewolf pups, Nightwolf and Snowpaw, who are excited to go trick-or-treating among the humans without scaring anyone. While the pups are going door-to-door collecting candy, their monster grade school classmates, Janelle and Circe, are up to no good. Jealous of the pups' strong friendship, the twin witches cast a spell, turning Nightwolf into a voodoo doll plush toy. The book is gorgeously illustrated by Megan Alferter, a talented young artist whose overall cheerful style was a perfect fit for this series. I would like to personally thank you in advance for backing this project and joining the Wolfpack. I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity to self-publish quality children's books for you and your little ones to enjoy together. There's no risk in backing this project since the Snowpaw 13-inch plush is production ready, the Wolfpack Pups A Halloween Trick-or-Treat Tale is already published, both the Nightwolf 13-inch plush and the Voodoo Doll plushie are already available and child safety tested in the USA. And again, thank you for taking this creative journey with me. I appreciate it so much. So what are you waiting for? Join the Wolfpack today. And remember, have a happy Halloween.
Oh boy.
Love that.
Yeah.
That's
Dude,
awesome.
I really hate you right now because my son is going to want all of those plushes. Oh God, he is upset. They're awesome, dude.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, they look really,
That's
really
fucking
good
rad,
quality.
man. But I still hate you. He doesn't need any more stuffies, but he's gonna.
They
get
need all the stuffies. Don't let them fool you. They need all. Yeah, I mean, so it's funny because, like, so that trade that I showed you earlier, the original Voodoo Doll was a part of a pinup, with the comic versions of the witches, that Megan did. And then everybody was like, oh, you need to make a plush out of it. You need to make a plush out of it. So I did 2 years ago. And then finally I was like, you know, we should probably do something with this plush, actually give it a background story. So that kind of helped to inspire the story. And then I'm like, all right, well, I want to do one of those books where it's kind of teaches a lesson. And then I said in the video about my daughter having a situation in preschool, I was like, well, there it is. The story writes itself, right? But yeah, no, so it's been growing from there. We have, like I said, the book out, we have the plushies. I'm hoping to do a few more books in the series. I kind of mentioned in the book about the monster grade school that they go to, so I kind of want to develop that a little bit more and kind of play in this little world as much as I do with my comics. Which, if you are a comic fan, they are also available. The 2 trades of Nightwolf, plus issue 9, and then issues 1 of 3 for Snowpaw. You can grab different variants as well. So yeah, I mean, we got stuff for all ages in this campaign, and we're doing a backer kit instead of a Kickstarter like we usually do. So this is kind of a little bit of an experiment because it's during the Pintopia Pins and Plushie event that we were invited to. So I was like, all right, well, since we're kind of bringing it to a new audience, let's just, kind of make it that it's the whole package for everything, with the intent of producing the new plushie, which is, the Snowpaw plush. And so, yeah, that's what we're doing now. So we got, some returning pack members who decided to jump from Kickstarter over to Backer Kit. And we have a lot of new people from, Backer Kit that are jumping in now. I know I look at the backer count and I want to say nice, but I feel like it's inappropriate for this. But yeah, so that's what we got. We have pups, plushes, comics, pins, all kinds of stuff. And I, like I said, I brought the team with me. They're here behind me, and so they are in physical form. They do exist.
So cute.
Amazing.
Go ahead, Rob. Show them off.
Oh,
Hey.
cute.
Those are adorable.
Thank you.
Really, really good.
All right, cool. All righty. Daphne,
Oh, what? Oh.
you want to play this video?
Oh, that's right. I do have a Kickstarter live.
Yeah, it just
don't
went
I?
up.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, did it?
Yeah, I think
Oh,
so.
yeah,
Yeah, it did.
101.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Yeah, because,
You want to play the video?
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. And the timing couldn't have been any more perfect because I just finished page 12 of issue 10. So I'm already like, no rest for the wicked. It's like I'm already on the next issue of this. But Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, is the story of a unicorn princess exiled into the mortal realm after she is betrayed by her elf prince husband to be, and dragons overtake her kingdom. But when Eagle Raven becomes an unwitting pawn in a noble woman's attempt to avoid an arranged marriage, she trains to become a knight with the help of an unlikely trio of blacksmiths, hoping to ultimately win a king's favor and save her people. This is issue 9 of this 16 issue series. And in issue 9, Eagle Raven barely survives a brutal attack, only to find herself put on trial for murder. As her friends rally to protect her from a jury determined to execute her, Eagle Raven makes an offer to King Jason he might not be able to refuse. So along with issue 9, which is available in both physical and digital formats, I do have pretty much all my books from all my previous campaigns if you missed anything and want to catch up on the whole thing, including this illustrated prequel that takes place 20 years before the very first issue. And it's a short story about how Eagle Raven's parents met, because a unicorn girl doesn't just come out of nowhere. So also these are the different levels that I have. Like I said, it's I have both PDF tiers and physical tiers, although pretty much the main physical tiers also comes with PDFs as well. And this is the easiest way to catch up on the entire series so far, so nobody misses out on anything. I also have add-ons, including the infamous Medieval Unicorn Viking Slut series, which is a adults-only 2-pack of 2 comics. That's it's kind of like an alternate universe of the Eagle Raven story. So that's also available on the add-ons. And if you also missed any of the Tall Tales campaigns, the Tall Tales books are on this campaign as well. So you can catch up on everything that I do on this one campaign. Also, we're very close to unlocking the stretch goals, which is a series of art prints. They're art postcards that feature Eagle Raven in doing cosplay, essentially. I have to admit, I stole the idea from Sam Vera, who was finding a lot of success with his cosplay duty series. And in the end, it's like I can see why, because they're a lot of fun to do. So I have a series of 4 prints. Each one gets unlocked as the better the campaign does. So so we're very close to unlocking the first one. That I have to admit, that Eagle Raven Alien one is my favorite. It's just so left field. It has nothing to do with inspiring the story at all, but it was just something that I just had to do, and it came out a lot better than I expected. So I'm hoping that we can get to a point where we can unlock that last print. Also, if anyone in the audience is not familiar with Kickstarter, I put up a nice little graphic explaining how Kickstarter works and how to pledge to the campaign. And of course, I had to put my mug on the whole thing so you know who created and made this stuff. And we end off with other people who have read Eagle Raven and enjoyed it. And I could only hope that everyone enjoys it as well to pledge to it. So I just want to thank the 101 backers who's pledged to the campaign so far. We have 11 days to go. And yeah, I mean, it's like, it's still plenty of time. Anything can happen in that time. So if you haven't pledged yet, why wait? But you do have time to do so. So.
All right. Very nice. Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. And what's the next one after this? Issue 10?
Issue 10. Yeah. I'm literally working on it right now.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, this is why that was like those two Tall Tales issues haunts me, but it's faster for me to do these. So I'll get to them eventually. I'll get to them.
No rest for the wicked, as they say.
Right, exactly. No rest for the wicked.
All right. So we got one last campaign to show, which is mine. This is the Oswald Chronicles 1 through 8.
You say it so downtroddenly.
He hates promoting his own.
I hate promoting my own book. That's
Yeah.
what it is. But this is the Oswald Chronicles issues 1 through 8, where Oswald, we have My First Day, where he where it's literally his first day. It's his origin story, where he explains where he comes from, the young lady that he met, and who gave him his name, who gave him his bow tie, and who eventually met a tragic end at the hands of goblins that he couldn't help her with. And then he moves on, goes into ends up wandering the streets of Manhattan, and he ends up meeting two young nobles who were kobolds and whose kingdom were being taken over by orcs. And the orc queen has ensorcelled their father, who's the king, and is basically taking over their kingdom, and they're fighting back, and Oswald's helping them. And during that period, Oswald they've given him this gem, and these gems are called Imaginarium stones, and he's able to tap into the latent magic within those. And Oswald is just able to do this naturally. There are very few other people that can do this, and this just goes into his growth, showing that eventually he'll become a great sorcerer. But yeah, and the artwork is done by Jade Gonzalez. She does a beautiful job, and this is the first time it's in full color. This is issues 1 through 8, and the colors are done by David Montoya, formerly of, he worked for Valiant, worked for Milestone, he worked for a few different companies. But yeah, he did these for me, and with alternative covers by Dani Harijawa. So, and this is one of his covers. So go check it out. I think we got 7 days left. It's already funded, so it's definitely going to ship out. So there you go. Thank you. And yeah, I don't like promoting my own stuff. I don't know what that is. But Rob, please, you got the next question.
Okay. So with the changes in the industry, there has been over the last couple of years, there's been a really huge boom of crowdfunding and indie creators. I kind of always thought with that, the economy, how it was, eventually it would kind of wind down, kind of go up its peak and then come down in numbers. But I feel that with the Diamond situation, that it actually might kind of go back up with another spike. Do you feel that indie creators are going to go through another boom, and there's going to be a ton of people flooding the gates of Kickstarter and other crowdfunding platforms? Or do you feel that things are going to continue to be weeding out, if you will?
I think we're up to Rich. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think we're about to enter a new golden age of independent comics, because while the broader industry may be in flux right now, that creates a lot of opportunities for new creators, new voices, new small publishers. JP Morgan, when there's blood in the street, spend money. So now is the time. Now is the time for people. I'm speaking for myself. I can't, let anybody else what to think. But I think right now is the time to, if you've got a project that you've been sitting on, you've been hemming and hawing about, do it now. Because there's an opportunity that's presenting itself, because, again, the bigger publishers are in flux. The people who have been hooked up with mid-size and small press publishers, they're struggling. Everybody's panicking. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Well, just do something. Tell your story, get it out there. And Kickstarter, all the other crowdfunding platforms, there's no reason Diamond's going out of business should affect any of us. Diamond didn't do anything for us in the beginning, and Diamond's we're not gonna lose anything now that Diamond's gone. So the opportunity's there if you want to do it. So go get it. Audiences are hungry for new things. There's plenty of ways to reach your audience. Just go do it. I really do. I think this is a great opportunity for new voices to emerge.
All right, cool. Fang, you're up. What are your thoughts on the question?
I wish the indie thrive, because that's what part of America want to stay here, of course. And but I know the impact for because the bankruptcy of the Diamond. But another side, it also probably. We have to think about it, like a printing media probably has some form to change, because you have to make a more better product, and then people can buy it. Yeah, you cannot just just throw a bunch of things and no one like it. Yeah, I feel like that way. Yeah, you should making the quality better and better. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right, cool. That's fair. Tom, what are your thoughts?
So crowdfunding never really reduced itself from the 2020 spike. Like, that's where it really kind of became a thing. It's never really gone away. It's always kind of had the average of about 250 live campaigns a month. And then there's, roller coaster elements to that. We're always kind of lower in January, but then we kind of tend to see spikes up to around 300 and so on, and, throughout the year. So that's never really changed. Although the times of the roller coasters have been changing. It used to be over the summertime, you got this huge pop for like April, May, June, July. You'd be well over, in the 300 range, and then it would kind of fall off towards the ends. But the last couple of years, it actually has been lower in the summer, and it's been spiking in like September, October, November. Very strange, but that's just the current trend for where it is. So I don't think that's going to change much. Crowdfunding is the obvious door that's open to anybody that wants to do it. The problem is, and this is one of the reasons why we always see people asking, like, how do they get a publisher? So people don't want to do the work. They don't want to do the effort of building the campaign. They don't want to do the effort of shipping all the books out on the back end. Or even if they don't know, or even if they don't want to do it, they may not know the effort of building it and then the effort of doing it. So even if they were to come in and do a campaign and like, hey, I did this, they're going to realize that the amount of work that they had to do versus just sending it to a publisher and saying, you guys do it, is so immense that while we may see a spike, I think it'll all just kind of whittle itself down to sort of, norms, whatever norms would be. The big question for Kickstarter for me is always, when are the big names going to suddenly realize that this is viable to them? The guys that are over at Image and so on that are like, and we've seen it. We've seen guys like Scott Snyder come over and so on. They've done it. But I think they haven't done it much because, again, they're responsible for all of it. And there's so many creators who are just like, that's such a hassle. I don't want to do it. And that's going to be the gate. The current gate, the gatekeeper is going to be you. How much work do you want to do to get to the other side of the gate and keep going? If Diamond and publishers and distribution is no longer a gatekeeper, then the only gatekeeper is you, and how much effort you want to put into the book the process, everything. And that's where you'll start to see it all probably peak. Like, we're all going to try this. And then it's just going to go right back down to sort of normal.
Cool. Brayden, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that with the Kickstarter, like I think that it's like you have to want it. It like Tom said, it's a lot of work. It is a tremendous amount of work going into it. It's not just, talking with the artist, talking with the letterer, and you have a book there, right? The back end of marketing, of everything else, of going on my first campaign, it's tremendous. And I think what you'll start to see and kind of tell what Tom said, that Kickstarter has been kind of still up there in terms of like the numbers of campaigns that get published. I think you are going to start to see it kind of weed out in terms of who stays and who isn't there. It all comes down to, the work you put into it. Starting from someone that's new to the industry and new to kind of all this, finding a publisher or even contacting a publisher is daunting, right? It's one of those things where it's like, am I at that level? Do I have everything sorted to even be in that conversation? Being on this live stream, I mean, there's a lot of people here that have been in the industry for quite a while, and so I think that if you are if you're new, give Kickstarter, give crowdfunding a shot, but be prepared to work for what you want, and even pass what seems reasonable to put up or to do. Is kind of what you're going to have to give to be successful.
Cool. Daphne, what are you thinking?
Well, I mean, that's definitely the Tom saying that that we're at a point now where everyone's biggest gatekeeper is themselves. Because I remember when when Marvel fired everybody, that it's like they were just bleeding creators, that they were just like letting people go. This was years ago, right? And you were convinced there was going to be an independent renaissance because of all these professional people suddenly finding themselves on the open market. And it never happened because like Tom says, none of these people want to do the work. They don't want to do that type of work. I mean, we've seen plenty of so-called professionals try to do Kickstarter, and 10 years later, they can't even bother to fulfill that campaign.
Yeah, I was going to say, wasn't there like an X-Men artist who never fulfilled his book?
So it's
I don't know what you're talking about, Rob.
So, I mean... So it's like we might see like a bump. It's kind of like with COVID. People thought that, comics are an easy way to make money on Kickstarter. And then they go, oh shit, this is hard. And then they never get past their first issue, if they even fulfill it. So we might see a slight bump. But I think it's going to happen. What's going to happen is that most of these people are like going, oh, this is hard work that I don't want to do. And the publishers don't want to do it. So, I guess, I'm not doing it. And I kind of see that happening, like all the professionals are going to stay in their corner. I don't think they're really going to flood over to Kickstarter. Because it's like a lot of them are just the type that they'd rather be told what kind of stories to tell and what to draw rather than try to make something up themselves. And I don't think, and it's like, I don't think those big companies, like, they might see Kickstarter as a novelty maybe, but I don't think, because it's like, I wish they would have flooded it by now if they thought it was that viable for them.
Look at the Heavy Metal magazine, their crowdfunding.
Well, right. Yeah. But the thing is, it's not like we're seeing like all of a sudden Marvel's flooding Kickstarter, or like Image is flooding Kickstarter. It's like, no, they're just staying in their own corner.
Yeah, and none of the creators are either. Yeah. And they have the advantage, unlike us, they have the advantage. If they have a name, they can go to Image and be like, you want my book?
Right,
And Image
exactly.
will probably be like, yeah, sure. But for me, that's not an option. I'm
right.
not at that level.
You know, and then what's funny is like also the other type of person this is going to weed out are the people who are like being in a comic book store was kind of like their end goal. And you know, and it's like, and I think that those people, like, if the comic book store is not there, I don't think they really, like, a lot of them really have that, like, oh, I can't say I'm in a comic book store, then what's the point?
Mhm.
You know, and there again, it's kind of like boils down to they don't really want to do the work themselves. I mean, the thought that, you know, the only leverage a publisher had was that they could get you into comic book stores. Now, what do they have? What are they offering? It's like they're just volunteering themselves as a middleman to the money that they're going to force you to do all the work to make anyway. You know, so I don't know. I think that is just going to be like this strange transition where it's like you have all these people, yeah, they want to do comics, but they don't want to do the work surrounding it. But publishers aren't doing that either. So I don't know. It's like, yeah, I think honestly, I don't think we're going to see that much of a difference. We're not going to see. We're going to see like the blip, like Tom said, but most people are going to weed themselves out.
Rob, unlike the rest of these fine folks, I wasn't paying attention. What was your question?
I thought you were going to come in with like this like alternate take, like,
right? Yeah, exactly.
Answer.
Playing the devil's advocate over here,
right? Yeah.
Instead,
maybe after I hear the question again, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So the question is, do you believe that with the changes in the industry now, are things going to continue to flood the market of Kickstarter with more and more indie creators, or is it going to start to drop off and weed out sooner than later?
I mean, I can see where there could be a potential of a decent amount of people coming into the market because, you know, we have shows like this. We have other shows that are similar to this one. They're also books and courses where people can take where people are encouraged to come in, right? And they're not going to have any alternatives, right? They're no longer, like everybody was saying, Diamond, we don't know what's going to happen. If they do go away, there's Lunar, and that's a huge gate. Most people are not going to be able to get through. Same thing with Penguin Random House. Getting into the publishers is very difficult, right? Some of them would want you to have some kind of foothold. They're like, what have you done lately? Or what have you done, right? What is your social media presence, so on and so forth. So we may see an influx of new creators in there. But, you know, how many of them hang around? That's the big question, right? Because, you know, we don't know, right? How many of them are serious? We used to play a game back in the day. We would go to conventions, and we would go around. I got a friend, my friend David. He has a massive collection of number ones, right? We would go around the shows, and he would buy all the number ones from all the creators, and we would make, you know, we would be like, all right, well, how many of them do you think are going to be back next year with number two? So we would come back next year. There are very few number twos, and it's going to be similar to that, you know. Somebody, I think one retailer said, if you make it to issue 3, you know, you've done something, you know. So because most creators don't make it to issue 3, right? Because it is so tough. So the question is like Brayden was saying, is like, you know, who's serious, right? And that's the part. You know, Daphne and I have been doing this forever. Tom's been doing it for a long time. You know, this is a tough game. It's a tough market. You know, and it's like, who's serious? I mean, that's the part, because it gets tough, and when things really get tough, that's when you'll start to notice. But there is another flip side to that, is that if a person does leave, I've rarely ever met a person who has not gotten in and then left who doesn't want to get back in, right? So you'll see guys leave, you know, and then they'll be back in 2 or 3 years, you know, because the itch is always there. You know, that bug is always, that thing is always in you. You always want to come back, you know. But, you know, I mean,
life happens too. Like sometimes, like, you know, life happens and you know, you can't continue but you still want to, you know.
Right, you still want to, of course. And listen, I mean, you know, you deal with it and then you move on. I mean, hopefully it's not so tragic that you can't come back. So, but life will always continue. But yeah, but I think we might see a small what?
Life
Jurassic
finds
Park.
a way.
Life finds
yes, very much. But yeah, I think we might see a bump, but you know, I don't think
Yeah.
it'll be anything significant.
Yeah.
So Rob, please answer your own question.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I
Rob.
definitely think there's going to be a flood, because you're going to get the people who. So I'm not putting Marvel, DC, or Image creators in this bucket list, because as Tom said, they're already being distributed. They're not coming over here.
They're cozy.
They're cozy, yes.
Yeah.
They're cozy. They're cozied up with their plushies.
Yeah.
But really, what's going to happen is that you're going to have the smaller publishers who then don't have that outlet. They don't have that into the other distributors. They're going to say, okay, well, now people aren't going to come directly to my website, because for some reason people don't like going to websites anymore unless it's got an account like, you know, Kickstarter or Amazon,
Right,
you know,
yeah.
whatever. It's weird. You know, you think that, you know, back in the day you have a website, people will go to it, right? No. Anyway, so, you know, I feel like they're going to come to the crowd funds. It's going to be a big flux. Then they're going to get to the, like we said, you're going to get to the people who are, you know, they're struggling with the actual fulfillment side of things because they're not used to that. And then you'll have, then there's the people who have that like delusions of grandeur, who think that their stick figures are amazing and people like them, you know.
Not for nothing. Stick figures.
Right. Yeah, okay.
is
But
the
I'm not talking
number
about
5.
that one random stick figure thing that's the highest.
Number
gross.
5 most funded. Well, Order of the Stick.
Right. But my point being is, like, on average, though, you
Yeah.
don't, you know, you if you have, you know, a crap story and crap art, eventually those kind of like go away. You know, it's the people who are serious, who put the effort into it and have a great book, a great story. Those are the ones that are continue on. So I do think that eventually it's going to weed out probably in the next year or two.
Yeah.
So the other reason I don't think there's going to be a flood is that a lot of these small publishers aren't anything other than an umbrella, and they're just bringing creators in anyway. And those guys are already on Kickstarter. So they're already those dudes. They're already funding stuff and bringing it to a publisher. So those guys are just going to be there. So it's not like all of a sudden Scout goes away and those guys go running to Kickstarter. They're already there. So that's why I don't think there's really going to be too much of a flood. I mean, like the highest I've ever seen was like 380 at a time. That was like a peak.
Back in October.
Maybe we cross 400 in the next year or so because of this, if everything goes down in a bad way. But I wouldn't call that a flood. And I think it'll settle itself back out pretty quick.
All right, that's cool. All right, look, I'm going to ask one quick question. So we can do this real quick before we shut down the show. So it's a real quick one, right? So what is your favorite format to read a book, right? Is it, you know, hardcover, softcover, size, format? What's your favorite? You know, black and white color, you know, so on and so forth. So Fang Fang, we'll start with you. What is your favorite format?
My favorite is black and white because I grew up by manga, all the Dragon Ball, other things. Yeah, it's every time I see the black and white, very nostalgia. It's my thing. Yeah, that's my favorite. But also because I see some Batman comics, the art is really amazing. I always fascinated with a very good art detail. So it's a different, you know, when you read manga, it's like you're more drawn to the story. But for comics and in America, I like the art part. So I like both, actually. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Tom?
I mean, I still love a floppy comic, but I'm not the weekly warrior anymore that I used to be. So I've easily graduated to trade paperbacks over the years, but I've been really liking, and part of this is just because I'm old and it's bigger format is the bigger format. Like when they do hardcovers that are like oversized, so all the words are bigger in the book already. That's been great. But I'm also a big freaking dude. I'm 6'4" and 250 pounds, so I'm a big guy anyway. So one of these big hardcover books is still tiny in my hands. So, but I've been liking all these things. Like when the absolutes maybe are a little too big, but there's like this sort of in between model that's been happening where they do hardcovers that are like an extra inch or two, high and wide. And I like those. They fit on a bookshelf nice. They look nice. They have a good display value. You can read them easily. So that's the stuff that I've been really kind of enjoying.
All right, cool. Brayden, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm a trade paperback kind of guy. I like volumes, collected stuff like that. I am producing a floppy, so floppies are cool too. I love me a floppy, and hopefully I can get to the trade paperback if you like. But yeah, no, right. I knew it was a contradiction there. But no, I started reading comics actually. Doing trades, not even knowing that I was like doing trades. I was just like, I like this, and then they were like, that's a lot. Trade paperbacks.
All right, cool. Rich, what are your thoughts?
Dude, give me an old 1960s era comic book made on cheap newsprint paper that's falling apart and makes you sneeze when you pull it out of the box.
That's comics don't smell the same.
No, man, I hate the slick, glossy pages. I hate how heavy they feel. They just feel too nice. Like I want something that feels like it's going to fall apart in my hands if I don't love it.
You're like, I want the value to bring up all the rest of them once it falls apart in my hand.
Yes.
Nice. All right, cool. Rob, what are your thoughts?
I've been a floppy guy, tried and true my entire life up until recently. Not due to the fact that like I still prefer them. It's just a money situation, I stopped buying the big 2, 3, back when my boys were young, because obviously money demands shifted, right? Plus their stories started getting to be garbage, and I was like, okay, I'm done with that. I'm not wasting any more money on them. And so then I stopped collecting for a while, and until I started this. Then I went to Kickstarter and found all these new amazing books, and I'm like, oh my God, there's like a bunch of great stories here that I've never seen before. So then I started, I'm almost like 1,000 in as backed campaigns. And most of them are floppies, so I still get them. But recently, because of the fact that like, I can't back everybody, I can't get all the singles, and sometimes I'm just like, you know what, if you make it to a trade, I'll read you at that point. So now switching to a trade, as far as like, when you get to the trade, I'll get it. It's just easier.
That's fair. Daphne, what are your thoughts?
When it comes to physical media, I'm definitely a trade person. Honestly, I can't wait for the day I don't have to print floppies anymore. Even though logically it makes sense on Kickstarter, because an individual floppy is going to make more money as you get to the trade than the actual trade itself. But honestly, I really don't like that. If I could stop doing that and just do trades, I would. Actually producing stuff though, definitely I would like to just do trades. But I don't know. It's like I've just been recently experimenting with whether format really does appeal to different audiences rather than just printing like one trade paperback and then trying to like get different audiences to buy that one thing, as opposed to like maybe taking a comic trade and then making it digest size, and maybe that would appeal to like people who are like, they have shelves of manga, so it will fit on their shelves. Like I'm still percolating with this idea that people will buy the book that in the size that predominantly fits on their shelves, not necessarily, yeah. So I'm playing around with different formats for other audiences, but me personally, I'd rather just like trade paperback all the way. It's like digital, I'm still kind of half and half on. Like I can read comics a lot easier digitally, but just like reading novels digitally, but there is something about holding a book. even though it forces me to change my glasses, but there's just something about a physical copy that still has an appeal.
All right, cool. For myself, I like give me a nice size 15-pound omnibus or compendium. But that's 75 to 100 issues in those suckers. That's how I like to read them. The more the merrier.
Those books are too big. Those books are too big.
She's seen me like, looks like I'm gonna smack somebody in the head.
Tom said, "Screw you in your omnibus."
Yeah.
Yes, I don't know what happened to Tom. Anyway, but folks, we've made it to the 2-hour mark. Tom, I don't know where he went. I'm sure he'll be back. But I think he probably lost his internet. He clicked off by mistake. Well, back on. All right, so please, everybody, let's start with Brayden. Where can we find you and your work, sir?
Kickstarter, please. Kickstarter, Haven #1, a superhero noir story. We are also on Instagram and Facebook under Haven Comic. So if you like invincible, gritty noir stories with a superhero twist, give us a read.
All right, cool. Rich, where can we find you and your work, sir?
You can find me on all the socials, Facebook, Instagram. It's just Rich Davis on there. Also, if you want to follow more of my work, my World of Dracula page is out there. It focuses more on my horror work. So it's just at World of Dracula. And then on Facebook, Instagram for my new book, we got Angel Hunter, which is at Angel/Hunter.
Cool. Fang, where can we find you and your work?
My Kickstarter, and also I'm posting on Instagram, Facebook page, and my website is www.fangart.net, fanart.net. Yeah, people can find it there. Yeah.
Very nice. Rob?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, all the places at Lone Wolf Comics. I may not be active on all of them, but they're there.
About the Blue Sky, I heard about it, but I'm not. What's Blue Sky?
It's kind of like Twitter.
It's kind of like Twitter, and for professional
creators, it's like people jumping Twitter to go to there instead of being on Twitter. Or X or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it's just another social media site. That's all.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for me.
And you can also find me at Rob Multari on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And lonewolfcomics.com is where you can find all my titles and my online shop. And also right now you can go to snowpod.wolfpackpups.com to find the latest backer kit campaign for these.
Cuties.
So Daphne, where can they find you and your work?
You can all head over to my main portfolio site at egoworks.com, EGOWORKS, where you can find links to all of my galleries and social media sites. You can read Ego Raven for free on my website, and also you can read Ego Raven and Tall Tales on Webtoons as well. Ego Raven updates every Tuesday, Tall Tales updates every Thursday, and you can now find both my comics on Global Comics as well. If you have the app, you can read the books for free, and you can also download digital files of the books as well. And don't forget that I have Ego Raven issue 9 on Kickstarter. You can find all the links at my website, egoworks.com.
All right, cool. And I'm your host, JD Calderon, the writer and creator of the Oswald Chronicles. So you can find everything on the OswaldChronicles.com, TallTalesOnline.com, and currently on Kickstarter. And just remember, everybody, all these creators are awesome. All of them are doing great work. So please check out the show notes. Click on those links. Those links lead to their campaigns and their websites. Please pick up some books, because all of these creators, like I said, are doing great work. They all deserve your support. There you go. And I mean, just please, just go out there, buy these books, and just remember, everybody, read more indie comics, especially ours. Thank you, and have a good night.
Ciao.
All right.